One. Good morning.
Good morning.
This is Art in June, Delicacies of Society, and we are chatting with my friend, Miss Zinah. And Miss Zinah is a creative. Obviously, you guys know I'm talking to all creatives in all genres. But I really wanted to talk to Zinah because you guys should know that my logo, my Art in June logo, I scripted a little something and then I sent it to Zinah and I said, can you please help me with this? And she is the person behind my logo. So, I'm excited to talk to her about her creative process and how she does what she does. And so I am saying welcome to the Art in June Delicacies of Society conversation. Ms. Zinah, how you doing?
I'm all right. I'm great. That was a great introduction. I like that.
Well, listen, great introductions are, not for the faint of heart, right? It is for people who do the work and who are not bashful about doing the work when they need to do the work. So tell everybody who you are and what you do and, all of that fun stuff. Because, I know folks want to know. We know you're a graphic artist and a visual artist. So tell everybody a
Mhm.
little bit about who you are and what you're doing.
Sure. Well, I'm 20 years old. I'm a traditional visual and textile artist. That's the title I'm going with right now. I just finished an 8-month residency in Chelsea. It was amazing. Um, what else do I say right now? I'm working at a bakery. I'm going to purchase college in the fall to study
Nice.
fine arts.
What are you studying?
Fine arts.
Fine arts. Okay.
Mhm.
So what do you think you want to do with the fine arts title,
There's
for lack
so
of a
much
better word?
to do with fine arts, and I feel like lately, like through this residency, I've been exploring a lot of the opportunities. Like we've had all these different opportunities to talk with all these different artists who are doing so many drastically different things. I know right now I do teach. I love teaching. Teaching is amazing. But I also want to have my own practice outside of teaching. So there's all
Nice.
like this sense of entrepreneurship. It's like I want to pursue my own thing, whether it's like a textile business or just like strictly fine arts. I want to be able to, profit off of my art, but also, prepare the next generation of artists.
Nice. Nice. I'm so excited. I'm excited for so many reasons. Okay. Uh, Here I go, right? Okay, so tell me something. Um, what astonishes you? Given all this new stuff that's happening, what astonishes you about the creative process?
I think what astonishes me is that there is always so much more to learn. Like you can think you know everything about one thing, but there's always so much more to learn. There's so many things to experiment with. And I feel like these past 8 months, I've been experimenting so much with like mixed media and getting more into crocheting and textiles. And you think you're only good at one thing, but you really find what your strengths and weaknesses are. You learn about new mediums. Like I screen printed for the first time. It was crazy. But there's
Yeah,
just always so much more to learn. Like you can be, I don't know, an art professor and still not know everything there is to know about the creative process. Like there's always new methods to try. There's always different perspectives. And that's always what surprises me the most.
that's cool. So as you're going into the creative process, right?
Yeah.
Um, there's definitely a mindset. There's definitely some challenges along the way, right? And so for me, I've been saying that I care about the creative process. I care about the end product of what you create, but I
Mhm.
really want to know what are some of the challenges, hurdles, obstacles, whatever you want to call them. I know I don't ever say the word problem. What
I
are
like
some of the things that you find that were slapped with or ambushed with as you're getting ready to enter the creative process from a emotional or mental standpoint? What are some of the things you've experienced?
I think sometimes, I think for myself as a creative, I'm my own biggest critic. So sometimes in the process, I'm not happy with the way something's turning out. Like there's a part of me that just wants to like, I don't know, set the canvas on fire and just like completely start over. There's a lot, I feel like I doubt myself a lot because, you know, sometimes there is like this negative voice in my head that's telling me like what I'm doing isn't good enough. There's a lot of comparison, you know, like you see other artists that are either like your age or even younger than you, and you think their work is better. And it's hard to focus on your own process. Sometimes there's a lack of motivation. Like some days I just don't want to do the work. And it's kind of like, you got to do the work. You have deadlines, there's things you have to do.
Hmm.
I think overcoming them is the most important thing. And I feel like I figured that out a little bit.
Nice, nice, nice. How did you come to that? Like, how did you come to the fact that, okay, here are these moments where I'm feeling, eh, whatever we call it,
Yeah.
pensive, anxious, whatever. How did you begin to like go down the path of realizing that something is maybe not the way it needs to be, and what do I need to do to fix that?
There's this thing I learned in therapy, and it's mindfulness. Mindfulness is so important, kind of, you know, taking a step back. Oh, sorry, I have a cat. That was my cat.
That's okay.
Um, mindfulness is very important. You know, sometimes you just have to take a step back and you have to focus on yourself. Sometimes breaking things down, like in my environment, helps me feel more grounded. Meditation, yoga, going for a walk, but I think taking a step back really helps in these moments where I feel doubtful, where I feel like, I don't know, like I feel like the piece that I'm working on isn't great. You know, taking a step back and maybe asking a friend, honestly, I'll be like, tell me honestly what you think of this thing. Like, am I going crazy? Does this look as bad as I think it does? And it'll be like a range of people. It'll be like someone who's another artist doing what I'm doing. It'll be someone who's like, I try not to ask my parents because they say everything's good.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I know that's what my family say about me too. You're being biased, but sometimes I think it's really good.
But I
I'm a
always ask peers in the community, like in this residency, it's a people who do like some of what I do, like visual arts, and there's people who
right,
do outside my medium. So
right.
they allow me to have these different perspectives on my pieces. And I think that really helps me kind of get out of my own head. You gotta branch out. Yeah.
Yes, 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 yes. Um, so you mentioned therapy. Um,
Mm.
how did you feel when you started thinking that you might want to consider therapy? What was some of the things that, or did you have any kind of apprehensions about that? And what was that? What was that like in terms of, like, okay, what was some of those apprehensions? I guess I should probably ask you.
Okay. Well, with therapy, I knew it was something I needed to do because, you know, when you're stuck feeling a certain kind of way, you don't have the resources around you to help you. Sometimes you have to try something new. And for me, therapy was trying something new. And I think a lot of my apprehension towards therapy in the beginning had nothing to do with my thoughts on myself, but basically how other people would perceive me if they knew I was in therapy. They'd be like, oh, Zena's crazy. Oh, Zena's like mentally ill, whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think removing that aspect of it and just coming to a decision like this is something you need to do for yourself. And honestly, even making the decision to go to therapy is a huge step. Like realizing there's something in your life that you want to fix and you may not have the resources at home to do it and you need to speak to a professional. That takes a lot of courage, honestly. And I think removing the judgment of what other people thought of me. I have a very good support system, but I still was paranoid because, you know, not everybody goes to therapy, not everybody understands mental health. It's still kind of a taboo subject in certain spaces. So, you know, I start off kind of keeping it to myself. Like only my parents knew I was in therapy. And then, you know, I started to talk to my friends about it, and my friends were super open. But, you know, I'm always very selective. I still have some apprehension when letting people into my life now. It's like, do I let people know there's this thing about me? You know, like for example, like I would not tell a job that, hey, I go to therapy, so I can't work this day. I'll just be like, I can't work this day, so don't schedule me, because you never
Okay.
know what somebody will think.
Yeah. So I guess the fact that this is going to be on a website, this
I know.
conversation, this conversation is going to be on a website, and people are going to be able to tap in and go to the website and actually see this. Might be interesting, huh? So we might, how are you feeling about that? Because we're
I
talking in
feel,
public.
I know, I feel fine, honestly. I've been going to therapy for years now, and I think going to therapy is nothing to have shame about at all. I think honestly everybody should go to therapy, even if you don't experience certain, mental illnesses. You should still go to therapy. It's always great to talk
Oh
to
yeah,
another person who's not like a family member or not a
yeah,
friend. Like
yeah,
therapy is great for everybody.
yeah.
And I feel like just putting it out there kind of reduces the stigma we have around mental health. It's kind of like, everyone should go to therapy. Therapy is a thing that should be normal. It shouldn't be like a thing that's only for, oh, this person's crazy kind of
That's
thing.
right.
Therapy is normal. It's okay to go to therapy.
Yeah. I
And
mean,
it's,
I feel like, we go to the dentist.
yeah.
I just came back from my orthopedic doctor because I'm having a problem with my hip. We go to a primary care. We go to a foot doctor. We go to all these other places. Why would we not go for our mental health?
Yeah, you gotta take
I've
care of your
never
mind.
understood that. Therapy for me is like the best thing ever that has ever happened to me, right?
Mhm.
And so I really wanted to do this, and I really wanted to talk to people, and I really wanted to talk to people of different ages and different backgrounds just for that reason. Because there, as much as people say there are certain areas, oh, this we're stigma free, I don't always believe that. I think that that stigma free thing sometimes can be, a pun, right? Because there are many people who suffer in silence every day. I literally was just having a conversation with somebody who is working on human trafficking. That's
Mhm.
her pet project. And so we were just kind of kicking it in ways in which she's beginning to promote it and put the word out. And I said to her, I said, you have no idea how many people have been trafficked. You have no idea how many people are suffering from mental health issues who have been trafficked. And they're also suffering from that because they've been trafficked and sexually abused.
Yeah.
And I said, so if you don't have therapy in any part of that, something's wrong. And they don't just look one way. People who are having challenges look a variety of ways, right? And that's kind of what I think I want people to gather, right? That this is like oxygen for real, right? This is like put the mask on. Let's put the mask on because we're all suffocating in some way, shape, or form, and we're all suffering in silence. And to me, that makes no sense. So I say to you, kudos. Kudos
Thank
for being brave enough. Kudos for being, intentional about making sure that the work you're doing for other people to like, to praise, to purchase, to support starts with you. Starts with you. And you being able to see both sides of that, I think is marvelous. So, you know, continue being the little queen that you are, because to me, that is what this is about, you know? Um, so here's a question.
you. Okay.
What gives you goosebumps?
Goosebumps.
Yeah. What gives you goosebumps?
Oh wow. I think being vulnerable to an extent always makes me a little like goosebumpy. Like whether it's just a thing about me or about my art, because in art, it's deeply personal to me. Like I
Mm,
can show someone a piece and they'll have no idea what it's about, which is fine. But then when you're told to like explain this piece, what does this mean? What does this mean to you? And it's like, this is something that's so deeply personal that always gives me goosebumps. Like yesterday, I had to talk about my process, but then someone asked me like, "Oh, what is this piece about?" And I was like, that's a good question. That always gives
That's a question you're gonna have to learn. You're
I,
gonna answer many times.
I do.
And
And
you
it's
know
like,
what?
I'll be honest to an extent.
Yeah, but you know what's funny though? I think that when you create, I was saying this to somebody the other day that um when you create, I have a friend who does not like to sell his art. And so he basically will create art and just keep it, you know? And I just thought it was hilariously funny. And his art is like phenomenal. Okay.
Mhm.
Anyway, long story short, after a while he started selling his art. And the money that he's made from it has been like, he's like, oh my God. So to see him go from that to now actually being a part of an art exhibit is phenomenal. It's wonderful, and it's just so sensational to watch, right? But I say when you create art, once you create it and you show it to one person, it's no longer your art in the same way. You know, because now other people have an attachment to that and how they see it. And I think it's going to be interesting because I'm going to say to you, so today, how you feel about your art, months from now, you might look at that same piece. Are you going to be able to say, oh my God, I feel the same way I did when I first created it? You may
Definitely.
not. You hear all the sirens and all of the craziness that's going on. Sorry. This is why this is a conversation. This is real time. I don't block anything out. But you know what I'm saying? I'm saying, like, do you really think that you're going to see the same way you felt about that piece that you created today, 6 months from now, or 9 months from now, or a year from now? Are you going to feel the same way about that?
Definitely not. And from experience, I haven't. Things change.
So that to me is the beauty of why we create, right? That the inspiration and the motivation that your work gives somebody, like people think my logo is the cutest thing ever, right? And it's very, and they'll say it's very fitting. It's very fitting. It matches you. It matches you. I totally get it. Um, it was, to me, intentional because I had a thought in my mind about what I wanted to be able to share with the world, right? I know though that every time I look at that logo, I'm going to think of Zinah. You
Oh,
know, every time I see that 5 years from now, when I'm old and drooling in my chair, I'm going to look at that and I'm going to remember that, right? And so for me, art is that for me. It brings me joy, it brings me inspiration. What does it bring you? What are some of the things that you find that, when you look at other people's work, even if you're comparing it or not, which I don't always think is a healthy thing to do, by the way.
no,
I think,
sometimes it's not always like negative comparison. Sometimes it's like, oh, I like what this person did here. Maybe I should
yeah,
try
how they
it.
used it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like what are some of the emotions, or what are some of the thoughts that follow when you or that come into your mind when you look at other people's work?
Well, I know one of my favorite artists because I'm a huge horror movie fan, and this guy's work is just I guess it's kind of disturbing. He's this Polish artist who's passed on. His name is Zdzisław Beksinski.
Uh-huh.
Very I couldn't even spell that for you, but when I look at his work, it kind of gives me chills, you know. Whenever I go to museums, I like to I like to listen to music. It's so weird. I listen to classical music sometimes when I go to museums alone.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
I really like to sit and be in this space and imagine I'm in the painting, or I like to imagine that I'm the artist and like kind of try to imagine their process. Like, what did they do first? And I notice like sometimes when I look at art, sometimes based on this, it depends on the subject matter. Sometimes I'll be in awe. Like when I look at, master paintings, like the stuff they show us in art history, or the stuff they have us copy in like painting class, it's kind of, you're astonished. You're like, wow, how am I supposed to do what this person did?
Right.
Sometimes when I look at contemporary artists, I feel sometimes I feel sad because some of the subject matter, like I went to the Whitney months ago and I forget the artist, but it was a piece about slavery, and it made me sad, obviously, because I'm a Black woman.
Mm,
And just, yeah, certain pieces, depending on the subject matter, will evoke certain emotions. But I do really enjoy contemporary work because the person's still living. We can still, you know, ask them what their intention was versus people whose work is like hundreds of years old.
yeah.
And we're kind of
17th
like,
century.
exactly. Like we look at
Yeah,
these
yeah, yeah.
paintings and in school we have to like interpret things. Like a lot of the artwork we look at from Europe is like super religious art, and it's like, it's
Yes,
about the birth of Christ,
yes. From the
whatever.
Roman Empire and all that stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah,
they
yeah.
There's so much religious art. I had to look at so much religious
It's very
art.
interesting.
But
The whole art history thing is very interesting.
it is.
From how they move from the Romans to the Chinese, and and on and on and on, and how certain things, how certain mediums changed as a result of the culture. Yeah, very
Hmm.
interesting. So, what is so given the fact that you are now being further exposed and immersed in this world, what are you thinking about the art market? Because, I people have many different opinions and thoughts about that, right? So like what are like some of the observations that you've noticed about the art world per se?
Well, I haven't personally sold my pieces. I know for me personally, I make most
Yes.
money with art from teaching or, working residencies and stuff. So when I look at the art world, it'll be like after Art Basel or Art Basel. Someone told me it's
Mm-hmm.
well, not.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I look at the work and I don't understand it at all. Like that one year there was a banana taped to a wall. I was like, I have no hope as an artist because if this sold and it's like I'm like, my work, I think it's deeply personal. It means a lot to me. I'm like, how am I going to sell this when people are buying bananas on the wall? So I guess it's really, I don't know. The
To
art
one's own
world,
interpretation.
the art world definitely confuses me because I'm like, I don't understand this banana taped to a wall, but I guess somebody else did and they liked
Yeah,
it. I
yeah, yeah.
don't know. I'm
Well,
always constantly confused and bewildered by the art
yeah.
world.
Well, so speaking of Art Basel, I'm thinking about going this year, actually.
Hmm,
Yeah, I've gone. Well, I go to Art Basel in Miami. I haven't gone to Basel in Switzerland. But and I might do that one day, not this year, but but Basel in Miami, I think I might go to this year. But I think the interesting thing about it is though that you're able to see a variety of things, right? You're able to see what resonates with you,
hmm,
and what you resonate with, and then you're able to kind of see the things that you're like, I'm not really sure that I would like that. I'm not sure I would even buy that. But it's open. Art is open to one's own interpretation, right?
exactly.
The business of art, however, is a whole different story. And so, I say to you that, you will sell your artwork, and you might have an opportunity to have many, many consumers, because you just never know what resonates with folks. That's the interesting thing about it. Um, but what's next for you? Like, what's the next thing that you're going to do? Are you going back to school?
Yeah, the next thing is in the fall, I'm going to school. I'm teaching kindergarten, first grade in July.
Yay.
Excited. I love working with kids so much. It
Oh, so
really,
good. That's
it fills
great.
my heart with joy
Yeah, yeah,
teaching.
yeah. Oh, that's
Yeah,
good.
I'm super excited to go back to school because I've been out of school for a year. So it'll definitely be interesting getting back in the classroom.
Yeah.
And, I'm
Gonna
hoping
work
to
some new
travel.
muscles.
Yeah, because it's like, I've been working the creative muscles, but it's like now I have to work like the very technical skill muscles.
Yes, yes, yes.
Very, very interesting times.
So how are you going to strike the balance? How are you relaxing? Oh, how do you relax?
It's so funny that you asked me this because I just saw a video yesterday and it was this artist I follow on Instagram and she was talking about the importance of hobbies. And I sat there and I watched that video and I was like, I have so many hobbies and hobbies that it can be art related or non-art related. I
Yeah.
always find happiness in like doing certain things. Like I love gardening. I love watching horror movies. That's one of my favorite things. Spending time with family and friends. My friends like to sometimes my friends love to eat. So sometimes we'll just go on like food crawls. Like this Saturday, we're going to Chinatown because my friend wants to do a Chinatown food crawl.
Oh,
But
nice.
finding joy in so many different things. Like even my day job, like I work at a bakery and I do love to bake personally. So I get a lot of inspiration from just looking at the pastries also. And I take pictures of them all the time. And then sometimes when it's slow, I'll do like sketches of the pastries. But
Yeah.
it's so important to have things that you love outside of art, whether it's, writing or something physical. What did my dad tell me? He was like, it's important to have a hobby that makes you money, that keeps you in shape, and one that keeps you creative or something like that. And I was like, that's kind of real because
Wait,
I do
he
have a
said
hobby.
what? It's important to have a hobby that makes you money.
He said makes you money, keeps you in shape, like keeps you active,
Oh,
and one that
keeps
keeps you creative.
and keeps you creative. Okay.
I think that's a great.
That's interesting.
I think it's
That's
good.
very interesting. Okay.
I mean, you don't have to have a hobby that makes you money. Hobbies are supposed to just be fun, you know.
Well, I
But if it
don't
makes
know.
money, that's great.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, but it's really funny because um I feel like I feel like art is like oxygen.
Yes.
And so I feel like there's art in everything that you do. Even when you're not, you know, I guess that's kind of how my mind thinks about it. Like I feel like art is in baking, art is in gardening, right?
Mhm.
When you look at topiary art, it's gardening, really. When you're baking and you're designing, it's all art. It's all artistries in one way, shape, or form. And I think that's just so interesting. So yeah, it kind of like it's like a continuum, but you're just doing it in different directions. Um, so I feel like that to me is the beauty of the work, right? Um, but the other thing that I wanted to say, I think that's great. I think, you should create other outlets because sometimes the very thing that gives you joy is the very thing that can frustrate you to the point where you just want to quit, right? So I
Yeah.
get it. Um, the question I think becomes, what do you do when you do want to quit? What do you do when you want to just drop it and say, you know what? I mean, I love this thing, but it's really frustrating me or it's making me anxious. Like, you put it down, walk away. How long do you walk away, stay away? Um, how long does it take you to get unstuck?
This happened to me when I made the decision to leave college because I feel like a lot of it was definitely like my mental health, and it was also at that point to me art felt very draining and it wasn't a source of happiness for me because it was all for deadlines, it was all for grades, and none of it was really things that I felt like were creative. It's like you're doing still lives, you're doing fabric studies or drapery studies, you're drawing from life, and it's just, wasn't really finding happiness in it. And I was definitely putting a lot of pressure on myself. I was working a job, I was double majoring. It was just all too much. And I wasn't happy with art anymore. So I did take some time away. I think it was probably like a month of me just like taking a step back,
Mm,
trying to do things that made me happy. Like I was going to therapy a lot more regularly. It was the first time I went to I was looking for a psychiatrist at the time, but I was definitely attending therapy consistently at the time. Spending time with friends and, you know, my support system, my partner, um, going out to all these different places. I remember because my friends were still in school at the time, so I would hang out with my partner a lot because he works from home, and we would go to like aquariums. We'd go to like all these movies. So it's still like, to me, it's still art, right? Like I love
yeah,
film. And to me, I love aquariums. I love sea life. I love fish. I love nature. And that is something I take a lot of inspiration from in my art. You know, I was trying new hobbies. I wasn't working on schoolwork, which is what was taking the joy away from me. But I was
yeah,
taking a step back and doing other things creatively that were bringing me joy, things that didn't feel like pressure to me. I started crocheting. I started embroidering again, like things I hadn't done in a really long time. Like I probably hadn't
yeah, yeah.
crochet since the fifth grade, and now I do it constantly.
That's cool.
I don't know, it makes me happy.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I think that's the beauty of self exploration, right?
Yeah.
You know, it's really rediscovering who you are and really being able to say, you know what, there's this part of me that I need to wake up a little bit. So so having said that, what's the one thing that um when was the last time you said, wow, I did that?
Yesterday.
I knew you were gonna say that.
You know, I was gonna say, yeah,
Yeah, I knew
yesterday
you were
was
gonna say
just
that.
it was such a monumental day for me because when I started the program 8 months ago, I felt very lost in my journey in life and as an
Mm,
artist. And, you know, I don't know, I felt completely lost. And yesterday, you know, having my whole installation up, seeing the amount of pieces I did a lot more work than I thought. Like my goal was, you know, five, I think it was like 7 or 8 pieces I was proud of. I think I had like 13. And I I don't know, I was really proud of myself for getting everything done and being happy with my work. And I
nice.
like being proud of my work isn't something I felt in a long time, actually, because, you know, doing stuff for school, I would be happy about a piece and then I would get the grade back and then I would instantly like hate the piece. I'd be like, oh my God, my professor is right, this isn't as good as I thought it was. But, you know, this work was just so personal to me, and so I fell in love with the process more than the finished product.
Yeah.
That's what changed things this time.
And that's what's so beautiful, I think, to just hear you say that, right? Because, you know, my question about that is going to be, so are you having fun yet?
Yeah, I think I'm finally having fun again.
Right.
And, you
Yeah,
know, it's
that's
been
beautiful. You come
a
full
while,
circle.
but God, yeah, it's definitely been
Coming
full
full
circle.
circle. And I think that to me is that's the you know, you are the epitome of, you know, what you look at when you go from point A to point, you know, Z, right? No pun intended, but pun intended, right? Because no, think about it. I mean, I think that that to me is the beauty of self-exploration, giving us, you know, allowing yourself to heal, right? To admit that you're in pain, or having some challenges, and to go do the work, to work on you, right? To go inward and then to come out on the other side of that, I think is just it's just beautiful to watch, you know, particularly from the sidelines. But if we're looking at it, you know, and I would think probably, I don't want to speak for your support system, but I mean, I'd like to think that when your family is looking at the transformation that you've been able to encounter and experience, you know, they're probably like, you know, wow, this is really beautiful to watch, right? I'm on the
They feel
sidelines.
funny.
I'm on the sidelines, and just us having this conversation and hearing you explain certain things, I just feel so happy for you. My insides are jumping for joy for you because I think this is just so exhilarating to just hear you acknowledge the work that it took for you to get to the place where you are. And so kudos to you, big ups to you because you deserve it. And
Thank,
take it and wear it with confidence. Take it and wear it with confidence because you did that.
thank
You
you
did
so
that. Amazing, 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 amazing. So, I guess probably, I always feel like our time goes so quickly when we're having really, cool conversations because, there's just so much to unpack and there's just so much to say and to hear. But I really kind of want to make sure that, I give you the opportunity to really just shine, like you deserve to. You deserve to shine. Um, so here's my question.
good.
Um, what are you now? So given the fact that you now have been doing all this work, what now do you need to go back and finish that you have not completed?
My degree. I took the time away from school. Now I'm going back. So the degree, I have to finish my degree.
Okay, I'm gonna let you have that. I'm gonna let you have that
Definitely.
because you deserve to have that, right? You deserve that. And what does art mean to you?
Wow. Art, they asked me this at the interview for my residency. Art is it's everything to me. It's a form of release. It's like therapy to me. It's a way I can communicate without having to speak to anyone else. Sometimes there's no thought behind it. Sometimes it's just movement. Sometimes art is just art, you know? Sometimes it has no meaning at all. Sometimes it has very deep meanings. Sometimes art isn't like a physical manifestation. Like I look at things and I see art. Like I go on hikes or I go to the beach and I find beauty in all of these different things. And sometimes the art isn't just what I create, but it's like things I see in the world around me.
Yeah, yeah, beautiful,
Thank you.
beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So, Instagram, do you have Instagram or a website or what? How do people
I
find
do
you?
have I have my Instagram that I'm posting art to from the residency. I have to do that today, actually.
Okay, wonderful. So, what is that Instagram?
Oh my gosh, it's a silly name. It's world. It's so there's a horror movie called World War Z,
Oh God.
and my uncle gave me the nickname, so that's my Instagram handle. It's World War Z, but instead of the letter Z, it's ZEE because that's
World
my.
War Z?
Mhm.
Oh God. Okay. I gotta remember that. So it's at World War Z. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Um, so I am so very happy we had a chance to catch up and to chat and to celebrate. I am so excited that you are doing some phenomenal stuff. Um, I will probably be one of the first people to buy some art, um, and happy to support in whatever whichever capacity you need it. I am here. We are here, and we are excited to see what's next for you. So, we celebrate you, we revere you, we lift you up, and we send you all of the blessings and all of the magic and all of the great things that you deserve to have on your journey, because I think it's going to be phenomenal to see what's going to be on the other side when you're done with purchase.
I'm
You
excited.
know,
Thank
that's
you so.
a good thing. That's a good thing. And I thank you for your time. I thank you for your ability to be open and to be intentional about sharing, your journey and your challenges along the way. But listen, you put the work in and this is what you get on the other side of that. So it was all well worth it, right? Stay mindful.
I definitely will. And thank you so much for this conversation. It's easy for me to talk about these things with you because you're such an easy person to talk to.
Well, listen, I am thankful. I'm happy to hear that. As you know, I ask people to talk to me because I think their stories are interesting. I think they're interesting people, and I truly do like the people that I've been talking to. I'm very fond of them all. But I can't begin to even talk about mental wellness if I don't put my own story out there, right? So when I ask people to talk to me, it's because my first blog that's going to be on the website is going to be about my story. And I want people to know what that is, right? Um, that you are not alone in this, I have the t-shirt, the hat, and the hoodie. And so I am very clear about being able to be open about that, and what people see or how they feel about that, that's really not my issue. What my issue is to raise awareness and to give people access to help and resources where they need it the most. And if I can be a source of that for any artists that come my way, then I'm doing the job that I'm supposed to be doing, right? So listen, we're going to continue doing what we do. There are a lot of more wonderful things that we're going to do, and I'm sure you're going to be a part of that too. And we are here to support you in whichever capacity we need to. If you're doing some stuff and you want some support and you want folks to come out, send it my way, and we're happy to help support and share and promote.
I appreciate that.
Let's make this thing happen, girl. Let's blow it up.
Let's do it.
Deep bow to you. I love you. I appreciate
Thank
you, and I salute you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Let's keep in touch, and I'll see you on the 19th.
I will.
All right, hold tight. Hold tight.